seconds and counting. Team.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. The Houston Rockets have just wrapped up their first Summer League game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, an 84-76 win. A lot of really good performances from Rockets rookies today. Starting off with the crown jewel of them all, the second overall pick, Jalen Green. What a debut tonight. 23 points, 9 for 18 from the field, and 4 for 9 from 3. Also had 5 rebounds. Just an all-around really good debut for Jalen Green. A lot of crazy shots that he was hitting. I don't think you could have asked for more in a debut for Jalen Green, and I'm curious to think what you thought about his performance tonight.
Yeah, so, the stats say it all. 23 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and he shot 9 for 18 from the field, so fairly efficient, made half of his shots, 4 for 9 from 3. He was just an amazing scorer on all 3 levels, and honestly, the thing that stood out was just the way he was getting his shots up. So many step backs, fadeaways. I remember at the end of, I believe, the first quarter, when time winding down, he was able to beat the shot clock and get that get that half court layup from isolation. So he really was able to score on all levels. And honestly, this is exactly what the Rockets were expecting when they drafted him with the number 2 overall pick. He would be an elite scorer, and you also can't forget his defense. He was also like, he wasn't the worst defensively. He wasn't the best, but he definitely had a solid defensive skills there. He was holding himself. He was holding his own against these other guys. And again, back to his shot making ability and scoring, he was doing that while being guarded by arguably the best defender on the Cleveland Cavaliers in Isaac Okoro. And
Jalen Green hit a lot of crazy shots. Obviously, I think we all saw the step back threes. He hit a lot of really good layups too. It's just a really good debut for Jalen Green, and it's just a glimpse of everything that he can do. But what I was really impressed by is his defensive intensity. He didn't, lock up everybody on the defensive side of the ball, but he did have flashes where he did clamp up players. And I think more than his actual defensive performance, what more impressed me was his intensity and his commitment on the defensive side of the ball. Because at the end of the day, he's not the best defender talent-wise, but that intensity is what you want to see, because eventually those defensive skills will come along with the intensity. And so the fact that you're getting that intensity right now, I think, is really the key. And I think seeing that is really impressive. Again, Jalen Green, before the draft, talked a lot about how he is really going to lock in on defense and really make that his goal. He said he wants to be first team on defense. We don't know if he'll ever reach that, but if he keeps playing with this intensity and puts this much effort and commitment into the defensive side of the ball, it's definitely a possibility. Now, taking a look at Alperen Sengun, the 16th pick in this year's draft, I think it isn't a stretch to say that he was the best center on the floor tonight. And from his stat line and also his performance on the floor tonight, it was pretty clear that he was the best center on the floor. 15 points and 15 rebounds. I don't have the official numbers, but that's got to be some kind of record. I don't know if anyone else has had 15 and 15 in their NBA debut. And so that itself makes it an insane performance from Sengun. He also had 4 blocks, 2 of them coming on Evan Mobley. And also had 3 assists to go with it as well. And again, Sengun, I don't really think you could have asked more from him. Also had 9 for 14 from the free throw line, which is very good. His ability to draw fouls and make free throws was shown on full display here. All around, just a really good debut from Sengun. I don't think you could have asked him for more, especially when you're going up against such a good defensive center in Evan Mobley. I think Alperen Sengun really did show out and have a very good opening performance, especially given the center that was guarding him in Evan Mobley.
Right, and to a degree, we had to expect this from Sengun. He was, as an 18-year-old, playing in a professional overseas league with grown men who are, 10 years older than him and have so much professional experience. He was able to dominate them as an 18-year-old by winning and won the Turkish League MVP. So it's not a stretch to say that that game will not translate back into the NBA. Comparing his stat lines with Evan Mobley himself, his 15 points to go with Evan Mobley's only 12 points. He had 15 rebounds while Mobley only had 5. Now, that's not to say Mobley's a bad rebounder. I feel like Jelly got more rebounds or kind of stolen from Mobley, but either way, 15 to 5. He had 7 offensive rebounds. 7. Okay, that's more offensive rebounds than Mobley had rebounds total. Okay, so he knows where the ball is, where it is. He knows how to get it, and it's just, he's a great prospect. He also had 3 assists. He was able to make some decent passes. He had this one almost flashy assist going between the legs of, I believe, Evan Mobley while Jalen Green was cutting backdoor. It would have easily been the highlight of the whole summer league, of tonight, if that pass would have gone through, or if Jalen Green had not stepped out of bounds before catching that pass. So No, but Sengun is definitely played like he was the best center on the court. Matching up against a 7-footer in Evan Mobley with a crazy long wingspan, him being undersized, and he was able to put on full display his post moves, his playmaking, his IQ, and definitely his drawing fouls. I also want to mention his somewhat unique free throw routine where he was talking into the ball before shooting his free throws. Thought that was really interesting, and it came out that it's like a little prayer that he's talking into the ball to give him good luck. So, hey man, as long as the free throws are dropping 9 for 14 for a big man, that is very, very good, and you really cannot ask more from Sengun.
Exactly, and to sort of touch back on that play that you were referring to, where Sengun was on the block and Jalen Green cutting on the back door, and he dishes him on this super sweet pass that would have been, like you said, the highlight of the day if it wasn't for the fact that Jalen Green was out of bounds at the time. And this just goes to show that he has that ability of being a very, very good playmaker, especially for the big. The Jokic comparisons might be a little bit of a stretch because Jokic is like an all-time level playmaker for the center position, but he definitely shows flashes of that, flashes of being a very, very good playmaking big man. And I think that from Sengun is really, really good to see. 4 blocks and like half of them on Evan Mobley. Sengun was just all around elite on the offensive and defensive side of the ball today. Adding on to his 15 rebounds, you have to remember Sengun is 6'9", 6'10". He is not the best height. He's not the average height of a center. He's a little bit more undersized. And so the fact that he still grabbed 15 boards, like you said, is a lot to do with his IQ on the defensive side of the ball, his awareness, knowing where the ball is and all of that. The fundamentals are really, really solid for Alperen Sengun, and it showed tonight with a very, very good performance. Now, looking at the other rookie who played tonight, Josh Christopher, 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, an all-around solid game in 28 minutes of action. Josh Christopher with a good NBA debut. A lot of things that he could have done better this game for sure, but I think there were more than enough positive flashes from this game to be more than optimistic about what the future holds for Josh Christopher.
Right, and it wasn't the most flashiest game. He only had 13 points. He did have 4 assists, though, so a decent playmaking game from him. 5 rebounds and a steal. And he did shoot not the best, only 5 for 15 from the field and 0 for 4 from 3. He did not make a 3. But, what really stood out to me from his game was his defensive intensity. It felt like even after, making a hard play and on offense, he got right back with sprinting down the court to the farthest man who was running up to prevent any fast break. It feels like his defense is NBA ready. And honestly, that's exactly why Stone drafted him. He knows that if his offense can be improved on with his playmaking ability as well as like his off-ball game, he can be a force, a two-way force, and that's exactly what the Rockets want from him. We're not expecting him to be the crazy scorer that Jalen Green is, but if he can be a good two-way player, he can definitely see a lot of playing time alongside Jalen Green.
And Christopher, I think, showed a lot of really, really good flashes. He had his own little step-back moves in the mid-range. He was hitting some really, really tough shots. I think his shot selection does have a ways to go. He had a lot, especially in the first quarter, he had a lot of really tough contested shots where, like, I think it was the opening play of the game where it was him driving down and he had 3 defenders on him and he takes a shot. That's something that does come along by a development time spent playing in the NBA and also in the G League. I think that's something that's going to be fixed soon, but especially early in the game, he did have a lot of bad shots, but I think with time, that is something that will be fixed. He was very, very good creating for himself tonight. And again, like you said, his defense was phenomenal tonight. Had one play where he stripped Evan Mobley. And again, it was almost like tonight, every single player on this team was taking turns, guarding Evan Mobley and locking him up. One play you had Alperen Sengun blocking Mobley shot. The next play you'd have Josh Christopher guarding him, stripping him from the ball. Then you had KJ Martin guarding him and, blocking him for a dunk attempt. Seemed like pretty much everyone on the team was just taking turns guarding Evan Mobley and guarding him really, really well. The team defense for the Rockets is looking really, really promising, and this is without our best player in this game, our best defender, probably our best defender, Usman Garuba, who is currently in Spain. We'll talk a little bit more about him later on, but I just want to quickly touch on KJ Martin's performance tonight. 17 points on 7 for 15 from the field and 3 for 8 from 3. Also had that big block on Evan Mobley. He had a lot of really, really clutch three-pointers down the stretch today, and I was very, very impressed by KJ Martin's performance tonight. I know this was more about the rookies, but KJ Martin's performance tonight was, in my opinion, one of the most impressive from this game.
And the list continues. Evan Mobley is now added to the list of 7-footers that KJ Martin has invited to the block party, as said by our announcers. So, KJ, this game wasn't really about him. It was more about the rookies. But you guys can't forget, he's literally just 1 year older than these guys. All these rookies are 19. He's 20. So he's still part of our young core. This game is still about him. And, what really stood out to me from his game was he actually did a really good job in guarding Evan Mobley. The Rockets felt like he was the best person to guard Mobley due to his lengthy frame, standing about 6'6", 6'7", but mainly because of his athleticism. He could definitely get up there to contest Mobley's jumpers or his shots whenever he was being guarded, while Sengun doesn't have as much of an athletic ability as KJ. For that reason, we did put KJ on Mobley a lot. But another thing that really stood out was his three-point shooting. He did shoot 3 for 8 from three-pointer, which isn't the best. However, he made those threes when it mattered the most, in crunch time, where it was a couple minutes left, and it was a very close game. The Rockets were up for a little bit with I think about 4 minutes left, and then the Cavs started to cut the lead a little bit, and it became like a 2 or 3 point game. And after that, KJ and the rest of the gang, they turned it on. They got focused. They expanded the lead back, and honestly, after that, it was over. So, it's great defense, great offense, and hey, it's just the first game of a young core who's going to spend years together alongside each other, developing, helping each other, playmaking together, scoring together. It's going to be an amazing, amazing new era for Rockets basketball.
And again, just an all-around amazing game. And before we wrap this up, I just want to quickly touch on number one, Usman Garuba, and then we'll also go into a little quick preview about the next game against the Detroit Pistons. Starting off with Garuba, a lot of you may have wondered where Usman Garuba is, and there's a couple of reasons as to why he might not be here. Starting off with number one, Garuba has still some issues to work out with his contract, the EuroLeague, for him to fully arrive with the Rockets and kind of lead them. And the second issue, I think the more logical reason, is that today was the final day of the Olympics, and in the closing ceremony of the Olympics, all of the team's athletes do show up and attend. And so because of that, Garuba might have still been in Tokyo attending the closing ceremony with Spain. And if so, that's perfectly fine, right? You would still expect him to, now that the Olympics are over, he would fly down to Las Vegas and join the team, get clear of all the health and safety protocols, and then you'd probably assume that he plays in the next, and maybe in the game against the Raptors and the Magic. I doubt he plays in the Detroit game because of, the short time frame, but I think there's a possibility that he plays in the game against the Raptors or the Magic. And yeah, Garuba, if he comes in here, I think he's going to be that final piece that really, really completes this roster, for, at least with the Summer League. And I think from then it's going to be really scary because he is going to bring a different level of a talent and intensity on the defensive end.
Right, and we all saw like how Garuba was playing in the pro league. He's an amazing player. Definitely needs to become a little bit more polished offensively, but hey, that's exactly what the organization is here for. All the training, all the experience that he can get from the other guys. He's definitely going to get up there. But for now, in the summer league, what the Rockets need is they need that defense, specifically that big man defense. They want Garuba to guard guys like Evan Mobley, someone who's the frame, the height wise is not necessarily there, but his 7 foot, I believe 7'2" or 7, yeah, I think 7'2" wingspan is there, and it's just gonna be, he's gonna be a menace. He's gonna be a nightmare for opposing teams' big men. So watch out, Pistons, Raptors, Magic, whoever we play, you guys are in for something.
Exactly, and I think all of us saw that block on Jason Tatum in the Olympics. That's just a snippet of what Garuba can do on the defensive end of the ball, and again, a lot of promising big men on these teams, big men, wings, and even the guards too. Garuba can guard them too. And so, assuming he plays in this next game against Detroit, which is unlikely, but you're going to see him matched up against Isaiah Stewart at times. I think more likely than not, you're probably going to see him debut against either the Raptors or the Magic. And so with the Raptors, you're looking at him, probably he's going to guard Scotty Barnes. And that's going to be a really, really fun matchup to watch. With the Orlando Magic, we might see him guarding Franz Wagner. And so there's a lot of really fun defensive matchups to watch with Usman Garuba whenever it may be that he does arrive and join the team. And just a quick touch on our next game, which is against the Detroit Pistons. Of course, you're taking on the number one pick in Cade Cunningham. Him against Jalen Green is going to be a really, really fun matchup to watch. But that's just one of a lot of really interesting matchups that I think we should just go into really quick.
Yeah, and I'm watching this Pistons game against the Thunder right now. I think so. It's a little bit before halftime, and Cade only has 6 points. He's not playing bad, but hey, so far Jalen Green is seeming like the better prospect. So and hopefully that is the case. We want to definitely see that very well, highly anticipated matchup of the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, both of whom in honestly like different draft classes are number 1 prospects. They both deserve to be number 1 picks. So I feel like Jalen Green's gonna have a little bit more of a like a revenge game, gonna be a little bit more motivated that, hey, I was not the number 1 pick, so guess what, I'm a show everyone here why I should have been that number 1 pick. So it's definitely gonna be an amazing game, so definitely tune in to watch that, and we will be here to give you that post game coverage.
Of course, and that's going to be a broadcast on ESPN. It's going to be probably one of the most fun games of the summer league, and so make sure to watch that. And of course, like DJ said, we're going to be covering the post game on that as well. Let us know your thoughts on this game down in the comments section, and we will talk about it there. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.